Start. Welcome to the World Research Seminars organized with Monash University Malaysia and Bank Negara Malaysia. Today it will be the last seminar of this semester, and then we're going to start in late August. We're going to circulate the schedule in a couple of weeks. Today we have the honor to have Muhammad Fauzi Ronardi Wahyu, who is from the University Gadjah Mada from Indonesia. And he is an economist at the University Gadjah Mada. His interest includes financial economics and areas in macroeconomics. And today he will present the topic, the aftermath of the anti-communist Purge on family. So Fauzi prefers to speak for 20-25 minutes, and then we have the discussion. So if there is any clarifying question, you can ask. But otherwise, let's wait until the presentation finish, and then we can ask questions. Okay. So thanks a lot, Fauzi, for being here. The floor is yours. And
thank you. And I want to start the timer, 20 minutes, right? So my name is Fauzi. So I am the co-author. So the first author actually is Arif Anindita. He's a PhD student in Italy. And then the last author is Pak Aryan Sanjaya. He's my colleague in Universitas Gadjah Mada, Yogyakarta. And today I want to present about our paper about the aftermath of the anti-communist purge on family. So I think it is nice to be here to present this paper because I expect to receive so many feedbacks and also comments. And I appreciate with the comment and the feedback. So that's why I only want to present like 20 minutes. Okay, so this is like the brief of our study, of our paper. So the study actually follows the impact of the 1965 conflict on family formation. So it is a sensitive topic, and it also has a political threat for the topic as well. So why is it sensitive? Because, and I will tell you later in this slide. So after the 1965, all of the communist activities in Indonesia was banned. All of the symbol, all of the activities. So everyone who used the symbol, everyone who used, like kind of the picture of the Communist Party is considered as the communist sympathizer. And that should be banned, okay? And that's why it is a sensitive topic. And any association with the party was seen as a threat to national security back then until the Suharto regime falls down in 1998. And then why it also has political threats on this topic. And therefore, I'm very grateful to present the topic here because even an open discussion inside the campus can be considered as supporting the communism activities, even after a long time ago, right? So there are many experiences who students organization who try to, creating a natural discussion, even a natural discussion, open discussion inside the campus, and it becomes viral. And when things become viral in Indonesia, it is most likely to go on the wrong side, right? Yeah, bad opinions for that, like something like that. But however, our papers, our focus not to, not to analyze the political aspect or something like what is the wrong side, what is the wrong side, what is the right side of the conflict? No, but our paper tries to analyze the impact of this conflict because we read a lot of paper about the impact of the conflict, for example, the Cambodian genocide, and then the Rwandan genocide, and then the Mexican drug war, and then like Sudan conflict. And we see that there is a huge research gap on this topic in Indonesia because it is a massive conflict. And when I was analyzing the data, I see a parallel trend, without any data treatment. And it is very interesting because when we took our econometric course, of course, when we want to see the impact of the treatment, we need to have a parallel trend, right? And it is naturally creating a parallel trend before and after the conflict. So it is a massive conflict, significant conflict with a lot of casualties. And our main finding is that we find a negative impact of this conflict on fertility for the region, or this region means district or city dominated by the Communist Party. So we have two research questions. So does the 1965 conflict have any effect on birth? Yes. The conflict has a negative impact on the number of birth in the PKI means Indonesian Communist Party concentrated district or cities. And the second research question is that, is the event driven by family formation and migration? No. So we try to analyze the driving factor of this lower number of birth, but we do not find any hard evidence for family formation.
Question. What do you mean by PKI concentrated districts?
I'm sorry?
What do you mean by PKI concentrated districts?
Yes, I want to explain that in this picture. Okay. So we do not find any channel of birth decline. So our reason of this birth decline is the missing population. Okay, so without any family formation impact or migration and also individual fertility. So this paper contribution, because there is a massive research gap on this topic, and our paper is the first hard evidence. Why is it the first hard evidence? Well, we asked the same question. Why is it the first hard evidence? Because it is a sensitive topic. There are a lot of papers, try to avoid this topic. And it's like the first hard evidence on the effect of the 1965 conflict. And and when we discuss about the context of the prior studies, we see that, there is a positive impact of the conflict, there is a negative impact on the conflict, but in our paper, we find that there is a negative impact on this conflict, especially on birth declining. So I want to, give you some context about this Communism Party. So PKI stands for the Indonesian Communism Party. It is one of the largest communist party with around 3 million members during the 1965. So as usual in the Communism Party, they had revolts. They conducted revolts in 1926 prior to Indonesian independence in 1945. And 1948, when 3 years after the Indonesian independence, and in those conflicts, it created casualties. Okay, and in 1948, there is a conflict on Madiun. It's a district in Java. The casualties was about 3,000 people who died in that conflict. So why the Indonesian Communist Party becomes bigger? Because in 1955, after the first election of the Indonesian government Sukarno, or the first president of Indonesia, initiated Nasakom, nationalist, religion, and communist. So Sukarno tried to unite the different parties because the leader or the winner of the 1955 election, there are 4 parties who dominate the voters. The first one is the National Party, Indonesian National Party. There is rank number 1, and then the second one and the third one also the Islamic Party, and then the last one after the Islamic Party is the Communist Party. So therefore, Sukarno tries to unite them into one policy, the Nasakom. And in 1962, after the first election, 2 PKI leaders were appointed as advisory ministers for Sukarno. So it's a big deal for this party. And this is this is the 1955 election result in Java Island. So the blue region reflects more than 50% of the voters who vote the Communist Party, PKI. And then, it becomes lighter and lighter. So the white one, there is no data available for that. Yeah.
National elections or regional elections?
National election, but the data is, based on district.
And what is the vote share of this party?
Oh, the share. So the Communist Party won about 16.4% of the vote, so securing 39 seats in the parliament. 39, I'm not sure. But I think, yeah, but the percentage is 16.4, right? So after the National Party and also the Islamic Party.
And does the DAP do their greater than 50% share? Does that include Jakarta as well? Or?
Yes, Jakarta should be like this region, right? And then, so the second picture is about the majority party. Okay, so this is the first one is the intensity, right? And then the second is the majority. So as you can see that we have a similar pattern for the first and the second picture, that the PKI or the Communism Party is dominating in Central and East Java, including my city.
I'm clarifying, is it like first past the post system or like the current one, the runoff system for the election?
Voting.
No, is it like majority wins system of election? Or
No, sorry. Yes, it is majority based on the percentage, right?
okay.
Yeah. And we have to picture here. So this is the intensity. How much percentage, right? For each district who vote for PKI. And this one is like a dummy, right? Or the categorical variable. Like, is the district dominated by Communist Party or not? By using our data from the election committee, they publish about how many voters for each district, for each city. So why our study focus only on Java? Because in 1955, most of the election, most of the voters come from Java in 1955. But I need to, in other time, I need to show you the number, like how many percentage. But yes, the domination comes from Java Island. And then this is the context of the conflict. Yeah.
What is the turnout rate for the elections?
Oh,
The turnout rate.
the turnout rate.
The people turn out to elections.
Turnout rate, yeah, we don't have the data, the turnout rate, but I think I can find that, the turnout rate. So, creating the context for the election. And this is the context of the conflict as well. So why is it a big conflict? Because during the night of the 30th September, or we call it as G30 SPKI, Gerakan 30 September PKI, in 1965, several army generals were kidnapped and also killed. They were killed and the body was dumped. It is like army generals, like a high rank military member, and allegedly by the PKI. So it is, like there are many sources who tell that it is not PKI. It is because PKI. Well, some other sources tell it is a CIA. I'm not sure. So Hartog claimed this as a coup. So that's a matter as a coup. So therefore, there is a reason to do anti-communist purge, right? Because this party created a coup to rule out the government, to rule out the military system. And estimated 500,000 to 1 million people killed. So compared to the other conflict, so it is similar, right? The number of casualties.
What is the population of Indonesia or Java?
Back then, right? 1955, I'm not sure, but I can search on that. So the conflict is about who are the individuals to be on the killing list, right? It's a purge, right? So the government tried to classifying who are the person who are the communist sympathizer, and the policy comes from the Ministry of Defense, Directive Number INS 1015/1965, classifying whether a person to be purged or not, to become a killing list or not. And the question of whether a person is communist or not was elaborated brilliantly by one of the exile of the Purge, Rohijat. So he wrote a paper with Anderson, I think, Australian nationality in 1985. So they tried to, tell why Rohingya was part of the killing list, and yeah.
Is there a systematic way in which the government picked who to kill or not? Or?
Yes, there is an anecdotal evidence. So we cannot find a hard evidence on that. That the opponent's party, when Suharto doesn't like this person or these people, well, they can become the communist sympathizer, something like that. So try to maintaining the power, right? But again, it is anecdotal evidence, so we do not find a hard evidence for that. So this is the data and regression model. So two-way fixed effect using the census data, and also Indonesian Family Life Survey on 2007, and we also use the so it should be 1955. So I will tell you the limitation on this data. Also the, like, what do we assume from this data, that we do not, observe the victims directly. We only observe who are people who were born before and after the treatment, like this, right? People who were born and after the treatment, also people who were born in the PKI dominated regions and not PKI regions, right? So I want to straightforward. I want to move on to our main finding. So as we can see from this, so our finding is lack of control variables. Okay, that is our weakness. Okay, it is very hard for us to find a control variable. Again, lack of data, right? But we are trying to find a good control variables in the district level. Yes.
What do you pick 2010 census? Why don't you put 2000?
Yeah, that's interesting.
There is also like the census.
Yes. Because only in 2010 data, our statistic agency, they ask about where you were born.
Oh.
Before that, there is no data on that. So it is hard for, yes, again, it is not perfect because we do not observe the victim of this conflict, right? That's our weakness. So as you can see that we have a good pre-trend conditions, control and treatment group, right? There is no significant difference pre-trend in pre-trend condition. But after,
Here the treatment is if you were a communist district, or is it
yes,
the percentage of vote
uh,
greater than 50 or
if the people were born in the communist district.
in 1955 election?
Yes, that is the treatment. So we use intensity treatment and also the categorical treatment from the election map, right? So we see that we have a negative decline on birth, especially on the PKI dominated districts, right? And when we use other treatment in the intensity, we see the same finding. And then we ask, right? Yes.
Just a quick one. Could it be because of this the people actually moved down to Java?
Yes. We ask the same question. So we are trying to ask that question. What is the reason, right? Is it family formation? Is it migration? Or is it the individual fertility decision, right? The driving factor of the conflict when we have declining on birth, right? When we read about many papers on the Rwandan genocide, also the Cambodian genocide. But again, we do not find a hard evidence on this driving factor. So the first one is the family formation. So we ask whether people about the marital status. So we ask that man or woman try to delay the marriage because they are impacted by the conflict. They have some kind of trauma to form a family, and they don't want the family to be impacted as them, like them. And we see that there is no effect on marriage, but again, we do not include control variable here, right? There is a lack of data on it because we are using district level, right? We should, for example, we should control, but yes.
What the census data, is it the 2% census or the sample? The full 10 million people, 100 million people that there is.
The full sample.
The full. Okay.
Yes.
So everyone is in.
Yes. So we use data from items from the Minnesota, University of Minnesota.
Shouldn't be a full sample.
That's naturally the full sample.
Should be 2% sample.
Oh, so be 2% sample. So yeah.
Integrated public
Okay.
use data. And then
Okay. So I should take a note for that.
But just on this picture, right? So I'm here like this is the number of birds in that given year, right? So you're taking the date of birth of the person in the census.
Yes.
If I look at this, you know, there are fewer birds around, let's say, 85,
Yes.
2000.
Yes.
So these are people who in 65 were just being born,
Yes. Before the 65, right?
or they were born right around 65.
Yeah.
And they are the ones that are lowering their percentage.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
It's not people who were directly exposed to the conflict.
Yeah. Who are not directly exposed to the conflict. But what we observe is the district, right?
Yeah.
So we try to observe if the district has a lower birth, right, after the 65 conflict. Because that is the weakness of our paper. We do not observe the direct victims. Okay. And then we see that first, there is no significant impact on the marriage decisions. Second, when we ask, so maybe there is a migration from the conflict area to the safe area. We do not find any significant impact on the migration. And then individual fertility. So there is a paper, they discuss about the conflict of effect on the individual fertility decision. So mother, they try to postpone to have a children, and also family, they try to postpone to have a children after the conflict, but we do not find any impact, significant impact on this individual fertility. So there is a paper about this conflict. So other paper, they estimate the missing population. So we have some kind of possible reason for this bird declining is about the missing population. So we guess that the possible, what happened back then is that Suharto regime, they don't give impact on the family, but they just kill the person and that's it. Kill the person and that's it, kill the person and that's it. There is no, further follow-up on these killing activities. But yeah, that's comes from the other papers, not from us. Yeah.
How is fertility measured?
Okay, so we use the IPUMS data, and then let me try to remember that. So we use the IPUMS data, and then we try to, identify which are women or not. And then, no, I think it doesn't come from the IPUMS data. It comes from the 2007 family survey data.
What I'm wondering is how do you get a reduction in number?
This one, Indonesian Family Life Survey data. So we use this data, and then we try to identify women who want to give birth. And I need to see my code that for clarifying that, but yes.
What is a little bit, I'm not sure, but can you get a reduction in number of children born without a corresponding reduction in fertility?
Okay. Can I get the?
Because mathematically, can you have a reduction in number of children born without getting a reduction in fertility?
Yes, I should try to look for that, right?
I was wondering on the survival of the children.
Yes. Okay.
Because it wouldn't be recorded in the census.
Okay.
It wouldn't be
Okay.
captured, right?
Okay.
Child mortality rates.
You would get that if you just had fewer, basically, women that did not get born because of the conflict.
Okay.
Not actually,
Okay.
but all the women who were born, they still have the same number of children. So
Okay.
you get an aggregate reduction, but you don't get aggregate reduction in number of children, but you don't get a reduction in number of children for.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yes, I see.
Yeah, another follow-up to that is
Yeah.
also the people who got purged, are they men or women? I mean, I would assume it's men, right?
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So you have like a exogenous decrease in men
Okay.
in Central and East Java.
Okay. Yes.
during
That's
this time.
yeah. That's a good feedback. I want to take a note for that.
Yeah, could be that women don't. marry. Any product.
Okay. And then we are also looking for the other impact about the behavioral attitudes from the Indonesian Family Life Survey in 2007. So after the conflict, we asked a question whether there is a risk-averse behavioral attitude, something like that. So after the conflict, we read some papers that there is an effect on the risk-averse attitudes. So people becomes more risk-averse, especially in conflict area. And we see there is no effect on these behavioral attitudes. And then we try to look on the other outcome, psychological well-being. So there is a question in the Indonesian Family Life Survey about the mental health. And then there is no effect on the mental health as well. And then the last one, we try to assess the effect on the outcome about the job discrimination, because there is anecdotal evidence that the Suharto regime marked the communist sympathizer, marked them. So they try to mark them in their identity card, and their children cannot become like civil servant, cannot go to the public school, something like that. But again, it is an anecdotal evidence, right? There is no hard evidence on that. But for job discrimination, to prove the anecdotal evidence, we see that there is no impact on the job discrimination. So that is the last one. And the conclusion is that we have so many limitations in our study. So our study cannot identify if the person is a victim of the 1965 conflict, because we don't have the data. So yeah, it is good to have a data that if there is a person who are victim of the conflict or not, so we can use the individual level data instead of the district level data. And then we do not measure the effect of being victim on their life. We do not measure that, because again, we use the district level data. So our estimation measures the effect of getting exposed. Why is it getting exposed? It is measured by the 1955 election, right? The exposure comes from the 1955 election. Yeah, that's our limitation. And thank you. That's the end of the slide. And I'm very grateful that I have several feedbacks, and I want to include this feedback into our paper, and I welcome. So any feedback, comments and suggestions are very welcome. Yes.
One quick question, but it's not related to this particular research that you're doing. So what are the effects of the election of the previous one after the event which took place in 1965?
What is the effect?
So now, for example, the voting session before this was 16% for the Communist Party, right? And after the event took place,
yeah,
what was the voting margins in the next election?
Okay, so I need to look for that. But the next election, the second election in Indonesia, was held during the Suharto regime. So during the Suharto regime, the Communist Party was vanished, right? There is no Communist Party anymore.
So there's no percentage at all. So nobody from like a Communist Party actually stood up. But the other question is, what are the chances that the politicians who were in the Communist Party, they move to other parties,
Okay.
jumping of parties?
Okay. So I want to take a note for that. Is there any possibility that Communist member party jump right to other?
Yeah, I mean, because there's no law saying that you can't jump parties back there, right?
Okay. Yeah, I think that's good feedback, right? Because I have not read about this, movement from the Communist Party. So I think if he or she is a high-ranking member of this Communist Party, that they are the first people who were part of the killing list, right? Because the casualties was so many people becomes casualty. But again, I need to check that. Okay.
The lower rank members also vulnerable on the local information.
Oh, yeah.
Government and whatnot. So
Okay.
it could be a phenomenon of fleet capture.
Okay. Yeah. That's good.
It could be
Yeah.
And then basically that affects the voter behavior, right? So if let's say the Communist Party was majority in one particular region,
Yeah.
if the Communist Party is no more, the
Ah,
party
okay.
replacing that
Yeah.
area would be interesting to see.
Okay. Yeah. So there is a possibility that the sympathizer move to the, for example, the National Party, something like that, right?
Why does that matter for this paper?
No, I'm just
These are separate.
yeah, general question.
Can I follow up to his comment, but more time period where
Okay.
count maybe matters more for your analysis, where between 1955 to 1965 is a good 10 years.
Yes.
And I assume that since Suharto did form like a party with all these other people, that can we see the share of those people, the candidates, where are they? And then can you see some kind of election pattern for those candidates themselves who
Oh.
are PKI, but maybe under some other parties during the time period from 1955 to 1965?
Okay.
And then that could maybe create some other tests for you
Okay.
to use different kind of measure for your treatment
Okay.
in terms of not just using the 55.
Okay. So there are possibilities that a member of the party join two party, something like that, right? At the same time.
Or because,
Because it's a coalition, right?
oh, maybe I'm not understanding the political
Okay.
landscape that much, but I assume like if they were to pick 39 seats, right?
Yeah.
PKI formed 39 seats of
Yeah.
the main government.
Yeah.
Like those candidates will still be in the election
Okay.
post 55.
Yeah.
And that could be a nice, also just to paint how the support is for those people over the years of this 10 years that led
Okay.
up to that event.
Okay.
It gives some kind of like idea about how the circumstances is.
Okay.
Jumbled thoughts.
Okay.
So the story, as I see it, is there's a major event.
Yeah.
500,000 to 1 million people get killed
Yeah.
in 1965.
Yeah.
We want to see what happens after.
Yeah.
That's the paper.
Yeah.
The political part for me is like a exogenous shock.
Yeah.
But we are really interested in looking at, demographics, let's say.
Yes.
Right? And your key result is the number of children born 20 years later.
Yeah.
Around 85
Yeah.
goes down.
Yeah.
So it basically means, people who were already born in 65 or who were born around 65
Yeah.
don't have fewer children in the future.
Yes. So it should be like in the conflict area of the PKI area,
Right.
there is a fewer children who were born in that area after the conflict compared to the non-PKI area.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that story makes sense.
Yeah.
But then, we don't know what's driving
Yes. Yeah. That is exactly our
lower
weakness.
numbers of children.
Yeah.
Right?
That is exactly our
So I
weakness.
think a couple of things you could look at.
Yeah.
Back then, Indonesia's population should have been about 100 million,
Okay.
right? In
Yeah.
1965.
Okay.
It's doubles roughly
Yeah.
every 30 years.
Yeah.
I think it's 270 now, it should be about 100 million. And 1 million people dying is a lot of people dying. So if you have the 2010 census, you can look at whether you see population decline
Mm.
itself around 65, right? So that will help you tell the story that, look, 1 million people actually died. So you can try to get at whether there's a missing million adults around 65 just by using birth year. If you have birth year in the data and they are born in the same district.
Okay.
Right? So that's one thing. The other thing is like, if you see this decline in birth, number of children born around 85.
Yeah.
Without a decline in fertility.
Yeah.
There is something
Yeah.
weird there. Maybe you're measuring, maybe the IPOM, the life survey is not the right survey for measuring fertility.
Okay.
Because fertility is just number of children for women, right? So the only way that works is if there are fewer women.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
And that, if there are fewer women, to be able to tell that story, you need to show that in 1965, you have fewer children being born.
Okay.
Right? So you need to look at, I think, you don't have a difference in number of children in 1965. Maybe it's not something that's being picked up by the data. Okay. But then if you look at just the number of people alive.
Yeah.
Or not alive, because you have 2010 data.
Yeah.
Census. Yeah. If you just see that, there are fewer people who are alive at 65 or died after 65 in the conflict districts, that might tell you that, look, they were missing women back then.
Okay.
And that's why you have missing children in 85.
Yeah. I need to look at that. Missing woman, right?
And if this story is true that it is really the decline in number of children comes from people who were affected by the conflict when they were very young, they don't want to have children. Maybe it's working through orphanhood, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know the literature on this. Maybe people who became orphans, they don't want to have children because they didn't grow up with parents. So probably the literature has something.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. I need to take a look on that. Yeah. Thank you.
Sorry, can I just clarify again? Your conflict treatment is if you were in a district that had killings by the government, is it?
No. The treatment comes from the election result. So we are using two treatments. So the first one is the intensity treatment. So the percentage of the voters who vote for the PKI. The second treatment is the categorical variable, right? The categorical variable is the PKI is the majority party on the district or city. Yeah, that is the treatment. So we do not measure the direct effect on the victim because we do not know who are the victim. So we cannot identify that.
Right. So the treated in this case are all those who voted for the PKI.
No. The treated group comes from people who were born in the PKI districts.
Okay. So then wouldn't a conflict treatment such as if you know in the district how many people were killed based on PKI insurgent, so that data is available in UCDP, ACLED, wouldn't that treat as a serve as a better?
Okay, so can you repeat where is data available?
UCDP, which is the Uppsala Conflict Data Program.
Okay.
Or that one is more historic. I don't think ACLED is available for because this was 1955. Yeah, UCDP.
UCDP data, right?
Yeah, they give the geolocation of where and when, and these are news reported events, so they're not anecdotal. So, for example, it was reported in the Indonesian news that this many people were killed due to PKI affiliation. You would have the geolocation, but I think your surveys don't have the coordinates of the respondents, right? Just the district. Right?
Yeah, just the district.
Yeah, so you could use the number of events and then even look at number of deaths as a conflict intensity variable.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's good.
It's like that.
The number of deaths, right?
Yeah. And I believe but the DHS isn't this close. Yeah, it's your survey for fertility rates, that survey is in 2010. 2010.
Yes.
I believe the DHS may also, because if you want to look at specific fertility rates, like what Akash mentioned, there is total fertility rate, age-specific fertility rate. The DHS gives you a lot of variables to work with.
Okay, what is that? The
DHS, Demographic Health Survey.
Oh, the DHS.
Yeah.
Okay.
What Indonesia has.
Right. I'm not. Yeah. I remember seeing a wave of 2017 or 20.
Okay.
But I don't know if there was.
But it still runs into the same problem that you were discussing, that it's not The fertility rate is just looking at the number.
Yeah, the total number of births, yeah, I mean, per woman, per reproductive.
So is it the fertility rate, so the people who are born in 1985 having less children, or people who are born in 1965 having less children?
I'm sorry?
Or is it like the fertility rate you're mentioning is 90, so people who are born in 1985 has lower fertility rate?
Yes.
Okay.
So we see that from this picture. We try to measure if the woman has less children who were born in the Kaya areas after the conflict, right?
And in terms of occupation, is there like a change between 1960s to 1980s?
Yes, we do not analyze the occupation, but we can try to analyze the occupation.
Because it could be a story of urbanization, where places that
Oh, okay.
Central East Java, they became more urbanized.
Okay. We need to include the occupation, right?
How about like marriage age? So like in the past, usually women get married earlier
Early,
compared to now because of education level.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, is that part of your control?
No, we do not. Again, we do not use the control like that, but we can use the control like that.
I mean, like maybe there's a district level
Yes.
average on marriage age or something like
Okay,
that.
yeah, that's a good idea. As a contribution and the age of the
Chances are you don't get it.
It's also like kind of.
So our first idea, we try to include like population in district level or maybe the economic condition in district level, but yeah, we finished this finding last week, and we do not find a good database for that. So we need time to collect the data. But yes, I think that's a good idea, to include the age of marriage and also the occupation of the main occupation of the district, for example, and especially about the woman and the man. And we can include that as a control variable.
So you get like a comparison stats of like, district with the under PKI and then district that is not under, like before starting all this.
Okay, yeah.
So you have like a starting starts. Let's say, maybe these two districts are different.
Okay,
And
like a
then-
balance testing.
Yeah, balance testing. Maybe in
Balance
terms of like all this.
Before the treatment.
Yeah.
Also, is PKI only active in Java, or are they also active in Sumatra and other?
Yes, there is evidence that the party also active in Sumatra, but in 1955 election, Sumatra, Kalimantan, Sulawesi, they are not their vote is significantly less than Java because people were concentrated on Java, and yeah, the variation comes from, in our study, comes from the Java island only. Yeah.
A lot of variation already.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not sure if discrimination will be the right word for the job search
Okay.
analysis, just because I think at that point, people are not going to be identifying as a communist, right?
There are actually an anecdotal evidence that the Suharto regime marked the person who are communist sympathizer and their children when, so it is anecdotal evidence. So I heard this from many people that, for example, my neighbor, so when he wants to be a part of a police academy, for example, the committee or the selection committee, they ask if his parents were part of the Communist Party or not. If he finds any evidence that his parents was part of the Communist Party, he cannot go into the police academy, for example. He cannot go to the military academy, and in some cases, he cannot go to the public school. But again, it is still anecdotal evidence without a clear evidence, without a hard evidence. And also, if a person who tries to become a civil servant, so the selection committee will ask if this person, if the parents of this person and also this person was part of the Communist Party or not. But it is still an anecdotal evidence. So we do not find this hard evidence of this policy, because, well, Suharto didn't publish this kind of policy, right? But we try to find a hard evidence on this, right? The anecdotal evidence. Is there any discrimination? Yeah.
But here you're asking if there's discrimination in 2007.
Yes, but people who were born before. So we try to subset our data to the people who were born before 1965, and also yes, it
But the job outcome is still 2007.
yes.
So, they may have been discriminated against from 1965 to 2007.
Yes, there is
But you don't know that.
there is a huge gap on that, right? Because yes, the ideal way is that we can identify after the conflict, right? After the conflict, if this person can get a job or not. But the available data again. But I think in the IPUMs, we see that there is an occupation variable, right? But I remember that when I ran the IPUMs database, we also do not find any discrimination on the people who were born in the PKI area to get educational job. But the question was not about whether a person is a civil servant or not, unfortunately, but the working area, the sector, right? The education, or maybe or become a farmer, something like that. And we try to find, so if this person becomes or work in educational sector, or in the formal sector, but do not find any significant impact between two groups. Yes.
Is there a correlation between the party identification and also like ethnic identification?
Oh, okay. So I need to
don't
take a
know
look
if
at that,
you can
right?
do that because you do have a huge population of.
So that is
very diverse in terms of linguistic, right?
yeah. If there is a correlation, then our treatment is not exogenous, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If there is a correlation with the treatment becomes like in the district level, if the district level has correlation. The treatment has correlation with the the culture and also the ethnicity.
Yeah.
Then yes, we need to identify and also check.
There is a lot in other parts of Asia. There's a correlation between being
Okay.
communist and being from certain ethnic
With the culture, right? And also in the ethnicity.
Go down to scroll down to the individual activity.
Okay, individual.
Yeah. So I wonder why we plot the graph is mother birth year instead of like child year, because do you indicate that the effect will be intergenerational? So it will affect the mother that was born that year and the individual decision later, or after they have like children like 17 to 20 to 30 years later, or I mean, they suspect that that's the reason that we plot the individual fertility against the mother birth year instead of like the child birth year, because we suspect that the effect will be intergenerational, like 30 to 30 years later, or the mother who is born immediately after 1965.
Okay, so the reason why we plot this figure is about we try to find the mechanism of a declining birth number on this. So we try to ask if a woman delay their decision to have a children, and also we try to we try to ask that if a woman try to delay the decision to have a children by comparing the PKI dominated regions or not, but we do not try to find the intergenerational effect. So we try to find the driving factor of a lower number of birth here. But we do not, we do not try to analyze the intergenerational effect because, that's because we only want to analyze the driving factor.
Yeah, I think in that case, does it supposed to be like back before 1965? I mean, like someone who is born at 1965, if the mother is born in 1965, she will only give birth like at least 15 years later, right?
Okay.
So that's why I was wondering like why you plot the curve against the mother birth year.
Yeah.
Instead of like you show in here the main results.
Yeah.
Is the birth year of the children, which is very similar to the birth year of the mother. So they are supposed to be giving at a birth at the same time.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So they are supposed to be they're supposed to be checks in the
Yeah. So actually, the individual fertility is about women who were born. So this is the mother birth year. So for example, we try to measure the woman who were born on 1950, because 15 years later, this woman will be impacted by the conflict, especially if he were born in the if she was born in the PKI areas. So yeah, we try to analyze it that way, right? So before the treatment, for example, in 1950, we see that there is no significant difference. And after the 1950 and 1965, we also don't see any significant difference on the individual fertility, something like that.
But then, like, which category of mother birth are you comparing?
Okay.
So you're saying that you want to look at the impact on the woman who was born in 1950, right? Because by the time of 1965, they would turn 15.
Yeah.
So they would get some impact from the conflict.
Yeah.
So in that case, the treatment that we're looking at, the treatment group would be those that was born around 1950, right?
Yeah.
And you want to compare with those, let's say, was born earlier than that.
Different district. The same age, but in different district is you're comparing.
No. What we compare is that another mother, woman. So we try to subset the data of a woman who were born before the conflict. So I think so. I remember. So I need to try to remember the code. I think what I was trying is that I subset the data of women who were born. So we have two groups, right? Women who were born in PKI areas and not in PKI areas. And then we start our birth years from 1950 and so forth. So we try to, I forget the code.
I mean, like, look at your specification.
Yeah.
Right? Like this, I presume this should be like your outcome variable, right?
Yeah, but there is a different kind of treatment in the individual fertility.
Okay.
Than the main finding, and I think it becomes confusing, right? Because
so what I got right now is you are taking sample of women that were born from 1950
yeah,
inside the data.
yeah.
Okay.
So 1950 until 85.
Okay.
Because I think that I was expecting that women who were born in 1950 will have children around this year, and also around this year. But I think I also, when I'm looking this graph, I think that I was also collecting the data from women who were born before 1950, and that's why I can get this pre-trend condition, right?
I thought you're just comparing women born in 1950
Okay.
in district with
Yeah.
PKI intensity to
Okay.
women born in 1950 in
Okay.
non-PKI area.
Yeah.
And that's the difference, right?
Yeah,
And each year you're doing an event study
yeah.
until the impact of mothers
Okay.
born in 1960.
So yeah, I need to
Yeah.
remember the code first.
Figure makes sense to me, actually.
Okay. Yeah. So let's. Can I have, like, certain minutes to take a look my food
Okay.
because so many foods in my life. I mean, I can remember that.
The best stuff.
The Purge. You're comparing people who are more than 50.
Well, then we stop here. If there is no more,
A question online.
if there is a question online?
Okay.
Hand raised.
Yeah, I wanted to ask a question, but it's more of a historical question. If you see in that period, right, most of these countries in Asia, South Asia and East Asia were basically getting independent, right? So if you see in South Asia also, there was a lot of communist movement, especially Nepal and India and even other places. And even East Asia or Southeast Asia also, like Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, and Indonesia. How come CIA, you think, got successful in creating an unstable situation in Southeast Asia, but they were not as successful in South Asia?
Can I answer the question right now?
Yes, please.
Okay. Well, our paper doesn't go that way because the CIA evidence about the CIA participation on this quote coup, we do not find the hard evidence on that. But what we find is that, like the anecdotal evidence on the part of this CIA on this conflict, but we do not find a hard evidence on that. And I think when we are asking to our government, they will, like decline the participation of the CIA on this conflict, right? But so I do not know about the CIA participation of this conflict and about the successful participation of the CIA participation in this conflict compared to the South Asia.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So I want to answer about the individual fertility. So I have a note on that code. Is that in the individual fertility, we measure women who were alive when I think that's the same interpretation as you, women who were alive when the conflict happens. And this is the woman, again, the same interpretation as you. We are trying to compare women who were alive in the PKI areas and not the PKI areas before and after the treatment. But we do not measure the fertility directly. And I think that's a clear answer about the fertility, that we do not, measure that a certain family has maybe like 3 children or 4 children before the conflict and after the conflict. No, we do not measure that because we do not have that kind of data. And if we have that kind of data, then it is good. But we do not, fertility doesn't mean that we observe also the family decide to have less children after the conflict. No, but again, the same interpretation as you, that we only compare women who were born in PKI areas and not PKI areas before and after the conflict. So I think the fertility will be confusing terms here. And in our paper, I need to, we need to try to adjust the fertility term because it is confusing, I think, because we do not know the fertility decision directly, right? Before and after the conflict. We only observe the number of women who were born in PKI areas and then we compare with non-PKI areas before and after the conflict.
Yeah. Number of children.
Yeah?
Number of children.
I'm sorry?
The number of children.
The number
We
of...
had that.
Yeah, the number of children.
This one, right? Yeah, if I have the data about family before and after the treatment, it is very useful, right? Because I can directly analyze the impact of the treatment on the family formation decision, right? If a family wants to delay to have a children or not. So I think I should try to modify the term of fertility, right?
I say that it can be, yeah, I think I'm more convinced that it's an absolute number of people, not because of the choices.
Yes, yeah, the missing population, right?
You have less, you have like,
And I think that's related to the recommendation
yeah.
that I need to check about the population decline data.
You can show that the numbers recover after 2005.
Yeah,
Seems to heading towards that way.
yeah, exactly.
There's a recovery of population there.
Okay.
Okay, so it's already 12:04, so we're gonna conclude here. Can we put the QR code? Where is the QR code? Where is Adam?
Adam had to go to the pharmacy.
Okay, yeah, so please fill the survey there and fill the survey. You never fill the survey. I have watched it in the last 4 weeks and you never fill the survey, my friends. And
Confirmation. You show the confirmation before you come in next time.
yes. Okay, now, so this is gonna be the last seminar of this semester. We're gonna send you the schedule for next semester, starting in late August. Also, if someone here wants to present, shoot me an email and we can accommodate you. And thanks a lot, Fadi, for your presentation.
Thank you.
There are requirements outside, so you can keep the conversation going. Okay, so thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who is the?
Yeah.
So you was or you still? Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think I have so many more. Yeah. I expect to have a lot of feedback. Yeah.
No, but you are the information.
Yeah. Okay.
Which department? Okay.
Okay.
You are like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which organization I think is also quite interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want to say,
What is?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. So to add our treatment, right?
Okay.
So the intensive treatment is the number of deaths